We're going to move into our first interview with the Machine Gun.
Machine Gun.
How did we get on Machine Gun? It just happened.
I think it's kind of an Ohio thing. You know, Machine Gun Kelly, Machine Gun Taylor.
Okay, yeah, just take Machine Gun Kelly's name. Okay.
It is. I have no part in this.
Like, shut up.
Let me talk to my brother for a little bit. So, why don't you tell everybody why you dropped 2 albums?
Just had a lot to say. A lot of things to write. A lot of life to get out. And I think Jacob and Judas was more of a joint effort, but you know the inspiration was there, so just kept writing. You know, the In the Way of Me album was just being written over the course of time. It wasn't like a concept album. I think as Christians, we always put the pressure on ourselves to make concepts and narratives and stuff like that. That was just moments that just got put together and made it to a project. So it was dope. Yeah, it felt good. I just wanted to make sure that I continued in the vein.
Yeah, Taylor's. I had the fortunate chance to grow up watching him write faster and better than everybody in the room. And, needless to say, he's kind of kept that trend going. So I'm still a fan.
That's a good thing. We're going to move into your thoughts on CHH because a lot of people want to put your album in there. But before we get there, just a quick 30, 45 seconds on your radio verse. Kind of where you came from when you wrote that mug. Because I play that I play that every day, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek commentary in the verse. The song overall is about maturity. It's about growing up. So you start to see the world differently as you continue to grow. So, there's some sarcasm in there. If I'm not reading the Bible, then I'm just quoting Khaled. It's just a lot of stuff that I see from Christians. Khaled
secure the Bible.
Yes, yeah, he's become pretty authoritative out here, so people quote him a lot. But other than that, it's just like, you can find out different things about Christians that you didn't know, and then as you are taking in the information, you're growing and you're maturing in the way that you interact with the rest of the world. So it's a lot of sarcasm, satire, tongue-in-cheek commentary in that verse.
Okay.
Straightforward disses.
Yeah, they're subliminal to the church. You want to get on that guy right there?
Hey, we've waited long enough. Let's talk
about them thoughts on CHH.
Yeah, let's do that, definitely.
Me?
We're going to start with you, but this is going around.
I was about to say,
you want to fire to Brian first?
He's the vet. So the vet.
I'm the rookie and the vet.
Yeah.
Wow.
The North appreciates that.
Yeah, bro. CHH. What does that stand for again, for the people that don't know?
Christian hip hop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just speak on behalf of Christian subculture music across the board. I'm going to adjust your question again.
Please, I don't like what I asked.
I work too hard to just answer questions. I feel like as a believer, as a person who believes that Jesus is God. Can I say that on this podcast?
On this one?
Just
yeah. Of course.
I am an artist and a songwriter. I could be a lot of other things, but I am not. I am a Christian, but it's just hard that culturally we've established this division of a mainstream market and a subgenre of Christian music. And I believe that music is secular. It can be sacred, that God created it. So without going on a 20-minute lecture, I want to make music that talks about my life and kind of reflects the good and the bad, and that people can connect to that, and I can connect with people. The minute I feel like I have to speak a certain language through the music, I feel like I'm not serving the God that I know. I feel like I'm serving this genre. I don't know how it came to be. Nothing against people who make that stuff, but for me, it's just sad that it's such a established industry that for artists who are on the peripheral, like a lot of my friends, it makes it tough.
Sure.
But I'm willing to keep plowing just for my passion alone, just to create stuff, to just keep doing, just being that whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Trendsetter.
Sure. Which you are, dude.
Yeah,
I'm going to say this.
Right,
No.
Talk that talk, B.
No, let's be honest. And you're going to say what I'm going to say, is that I don't care what anybody says. You influenced 21 Pilots because when I hear them, I hear Brian Reith. I love.
I think you
21
influenced
Pilots.
John Bellion.
Yeah.
I think you've influenced a lot of people.
All these kids grew up listening to you, so yeah, trendsetter's more than fair.
Now,
And you've
I
definitely
don't-
influenced me.
Yeah, me too. Same page.
Same team.
Whereas Dwight
Same
Howard
team.
would do it.
Same team.
So let's go to Ty, because Ty, you're a lifelong hip hop fan, kind of newer to getting into the subgenre we're talking about, kind of stumbled upon some songs, you told us a story. What do you think about the division of Christian hip hop in its own lane and then clean versions of regular hip hop and all that stuff?
I don't really like the division too much. I'm with B. Rice over here, and Taylor. I think Taylor mentioned it earlier. And I think one of the reasons why is because it puts me in a place that gets me feeling like we're dealing with Pharisees and people with faith again. And Jesus spoke against that.
Right.
Do you love the law more than you love me? He says, I came to uphold the law, not to abolish the law, but you shouldn't love that law more than you love me. So I would rather it not be religious, but I would rather it be real, so that people like me, listeners and kids, when they say that they can relate to something, they're not only talking about music that's destroying their spirit, but they can talk about music that's edifying their spirit, that they can relate to, and not just something they want to turn on Sundays after they went somewhere on Saturday night. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah, I've heard that story a lot. Yeah, man.
Straight up.
Taylor?
Straight up. Man, I think everything that has been said is a pretty good summation. I don't really have much to add except for I'm not a genre Nazi. I don't really, get up in the morning to dedicate my art and contribution to creativity to the CHH market. We never fit in CHH. We never were that. We've been just writing songs about our life and our love for Jesus for years before we even knew what CHH was or was coined. So I guess the only other thing I would say is there was a recent interview from Lecrae where he said, we create these rules and people have to follow these rules. What's interesting to me about that statement is I think Lecrae was part of that. I think he was a part of the system that created rules, and that he actually made music that reinforced those rules and imposed them on other people. So, we have to own that. We got to be real about what we did. If we want to branch outside of that, and not just kind of talk about the system in third person as if we didn't have a part of it. I truly just didn't understand when we walked in. I've been making music for years before I was considered a CHH artist.
Same here.
For somebody like Lecrae to say that, I think he's got to own that a little bit more. Even though he could be a good dude making good music, that system exists for a reason, and you got to be able to be honest about that.
I was going to say something, but you guys just said it. I don't know how you feel. I feel pretty comfy with what they just said. Ty Montgomery.